Hi, I'm Judith from Grace Journaling with Coffee, and I just thought this morning I would share with you what God shared with me in my quiet time. And there's something that just gives me joy about learning something and God speaking to me and then sharing it with other people, other women like you. And I have a group called Jesus Journaling that's on Facebook, and each week I pick out a journaling weekly verse is what I call it. And this week I decided to journal about it again, so I went deeper in it in another way, and so I've just been soaking into this one verse all week, and so I'll show you. It does show it backwards on here. I'm really sorry about that. But this one was a little bit more complicated to design to do. But I have another one I'll show you in a minute, if you stick with me, that was a little simpler because I like encouraging people to that they can do it. So it says, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." And that really spoke to me earlier this week. And then again today, I just went deeper with it. And I did it from in another Bible, in the New Living Testament translation, I'm sorry. Because sometimes when I see it in another version, it uses other words and other things speak to my heart. So again, this is going to be backwards. I'm really sorry about that. But if you're in my group, you'll see it forwards and you'll see it like a whole picture. But I didn't do this one as complicated. This one is just basically written out with a couple little things, a little squirrely thing at the top. Sorry. And so that you can see that you can do it by just doing letters and just maybe making them fatter. But I want to read what it says in this one. I need my glasses again. They throw me off when I'm talking to you. I like you to see my eyes. My health may fail and my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever. And I'm looking down here because I have some notes to keep me on track, because I can get nervous and scared, or I can totally forget and go on some kind of digress big time. So have you ever looked up a certain verse in the Bible and let it soak into your heart? Have you underlined it or written it in a journal? I have a couple journals I write in. Sometimes I write in one of the journals that I've designed and share on my blog. Other times I write in a little tiny one, especially if I'm out of town during the summer. I've been doing that because I can pack it easily. And sometimes I start journals and I use them for different purposes. But have you written it down? Because writing it down helps it to go into your mind, and then then it's easier to internalize it into your heart. And you can also put it on your refrigerator and whatever like that. Wait a minute, I can't have her. My dog is in the room with me and she's playing with my exercise ball, and I don't want her to pop it because it has less air because of some of the things I do. So she was able to grab it. I digressed. Okay, so my health may fail. And what that's telling me is that the psalmist is thinking about a time in the future. He's imagining how one day his health will fail. Like right now, I'm older than you think. Unless you know me personally, you would have no idea how old I am, because I am 20 years older than people think I am. That makes me 40, right? Anyhow, so he's imagining maybe when his health is failing him, or near the end of his life, because I have read things. I read something recently that somebody was saying in this book that there's people alive now that will be living 150 to 200 years because of the way they're eating and the way they're exercising and whatnot. I don't believe that. That is a fallacy. Yes, there was a time when people like Methuselah lived 900 years. I think it was more, but you get the picture. It isn't happening anymore. We're eating junk. kids are eating junk, they're sitting too much, and all these kind of things. We're not living longer. You know, I may make it into my 90s. I have no idea, because I cannot guarantee that because my parents lived into their 90s, late 90s, that I will. I don't know what God has for me, but this is my take on that. Health isn't about living longer. Okay? Health is not about living longer. It is about living what days we are given to God's glory. And my reason for getting up in the morning and working out, I do not do a heavy impact workout. Just don't get any big, bright ideas. I do stretch things, and I can work out hard, but I do not do jumping jacks. I hurt my foot doing that. I just don't do things like that. And I see no purpose in intense workouts like that. You can be intense where you use your body to do it, and without weights and stuff like that. That's my kind of thing. But basically, I am in good shape. I'm strong. But there's no guarantee. And the purpose is so that I can write and I can do my YouTubes, and so I can serve my husband and do all these things for God's glory for the amount of days that God gives me. So just, you know, that goes totally against what people like Jillian, whatever her name is, says, and what so many people are saying, because if they're not saved, they might be deep down, they might not admit it. They might be afraid of dying, which we all are. You know, I haven't died yet. So that it can be kind of a thought I'm kind of fearful of. But I, as a Christian, I know that when the time comes, God will give me dying grace. So that's what the difference is. I know where I'm going. So the psalmist wasn't in bad health at the time that he penned this verse, but was looking ahead to the time that he would be there. And he was asking himself the question, like, where will I put my strength at that time? Where will I find my strength? When his heart and his flesh fail, my dog, when his heart and his flesh fail, where will his strength be? Because I can work out, and if I had the wrong perspective, I could be putting my faith in my strength and start having that mindset that I'm going to live long and going to do this and going to do that, and it's not necessarily true. And anyhow, it's not because of me. I'm using my body to God's glory, and I'm working out because God gave me the strength and gave me a healthy body. There are people my age that don't even have the health to even think about working out. You may be like that. You may be struggling, and this verse may be speaking to you in that sense right now as to where do I get my strength. So the powers of our body and mind and spirit may fail. The power, not in the sense of God's power, but the power that God's given us to that we think we have that strength, and we have our mental capacities are intact, and whatever. They can fail because you can get dementia or Alzheimer's or who knows what, and near the end of your life, and things will just not be the same. So the question you need to be asking yourself is, where do you put your strength? I look in the wrong places. I need to look up there, I think, and I just don't. So I'm learning. So back to this. When that time comes that your strength of your body and mind fail, will you find unspeakable joy and delight in Jesus and God? Will he be your portion? Because the verse ends up in the one version, it says that he'll be your portion forever. That's in the ESV. And in the NLT, which I don't read very often, it says, he is mine forever. And I like the way both of it puts it, because it puts it from a different perspective, and it helps me to understand. I also looked this up in a commentary. So some of a lot of what I'm saying is, I know it's accurate because I know the commentary, because I'm not a theologian. God speaks to me, and I got like really liking this verse, and yet I don't want to convey it to you wrong. And that's why I love my concordances. Um, they can really help me to understand a verse, and I love just picking out one verse. That is a lot of what I'm doing this morning, this summer. I am, I read a chapter in Second Kings because I'm working through First and Second Kings, but I just love taking this verse and working more on it. It's taken me today and yesterday to do this. It took me 2 days to draw that, and I did this. I actually did that a couple weeks ago before I went away, because I can come back and everything can be everything at once that you have to do. So when you reach that point in your life, you might have wealth, but you have no need for it anymore. You may not have wealth, but you probably have possessions. We all are pack rats to a certain extent, and you may have stuff that you accumulated from all your trips to Walmart. And one thing I've got to say, that even the homeless in California, because that's where I just were, where I just was, they're pushing around these carts, or grocery carts, or whatever kind of cart, or a bike with a basket and a trailer on the bike and everything. And they have all kinds of junk, and it is literally junk, but it's their possession. Even they have possessions. And even one man was saying something, complaining about getting old and how, being homeless now and everything. It's very sad. And anyway, so when you're at the end of your life and you're stripped down to nothing because you don't need it anymore, if you ever notice, people live in a real big house, then they downsize to a smaller house, then they downsize to an apartment, then they downsize to assisted living, and then they end up in a nursing home with one room, and they eventually don't even need the things in that room as they approach death. So what the psalmist is saying is that I'm thinking about that now before I get to that point. And so I just want to ask you, it is living in God's strength now while you're healthy. That's what living in, you have to start now by living in God's strength, because it's not going to magically happen later when you get older or whatever age, because you can die younger or lose your health younger at a younger age. Is God your rock and your strength when your body and your mind and your spirit grow weak? Can you say that he's mine forever? That's what I'm asking you. And I just hope you have a wonderfully blessed day. And that's all I have to share for you today. I'm Judith Coles, and I blog over at hisunmeasuredgrace.com. And you are on my YouTube channel, and that's called Graced Journaling with Coffee. And one of these days I'm going to have a coffee again. But right now it's kind of gotten hot outside, so I'm down to drinking water. So bye.